The International Initiative for Impact Evaluation, or 3IE, was set up in 2008 with the intention to support the generation and use of high-quality evaluation evidence in low and middle-income countries.
The very specific lead into creating 3IE was the publication report by the Centre for Global Development called When Will We Ever Learn, that pointed out that billions and billions of dollars of money being spent on development programs around the world, and there was virtually no evidence of the effectiveness, the impact of those programs on the lives of poor people, on things like getting children to school, improving learning outcomes, women's empowerment, reducing poverty, and so on.
Over the last 10 years, 3IE has supported impact evaluations in over 50 low and middle-income countries to address critical evidence gaps in multiple thematic areas. It has been supporting high-quality impact evaluations and systematic reviews that examine the effectiveness of development programs.
There are two things that make 3IE different. One is the emphasis that we have on ensuring that the evidence is actually used for decisions that affect people's lives. Another unique aspect of 3IE is that aside from supporting individual studies, we have a global overview. And this gives us a unique perspective that combines our on-the-ground work with what happens more broadly.
3IE supports the generation of evidence that answers the questions of what works, for whom, why, and at what cost.
Our work is closely related to the pursuit of justice, particularly distributive justice, the kind of fair allocation of resources in a society. That cannot be realized without the kinds of knowledge that's generated from impact evaluation.
In the last decade, 3IE has played an important role as a global advocate for not just the generation of high-quality evidence, but also for its use in informing decision-making by fostering engagement between researchers, implementers, and policymakers.
At the end of the day, what 3IE wants is that in most countries, in all countries, especially developing countries, that we use evidence. This is happening.
The push that I see needs to be put forward, and I see 3IE also engaging towards that, is the use of evidence and encouraging policymakers to, let's say, be more prone to evidence.
3IE has been innovative in a number of areas related to evidence production.
I think the gap maps are incredibly useful for helping us understand, well, where do we have strong evidence, and we should be learning about how to draw on that evidence to inform programming and practice.
3IE has also been a pioneer in supporting innovative development programs by funding formative evaluations that inform the designs of interventions when they are rolled out. 3IE funded randomized evaluations of HIV self-testing interventions have filled an evidence gap that allowed the World Health Organization to issue its first global guidelines for HIV self-testing.
The interventions that are being supported by governments, by international organizations, have to keep pace with realities on the ground, and that requires a lot of testing and innovation.
3IE has been closely engaging with governments in low and middle income countries for supporting national evidence programs that build a culture of evaluation. In particular, the country programs in Uganda, the Philippines, and West Africa have involved policymakers in identifying priority research questions and commissioning rigorous evaluations.
In the Philippines, 3IE has covered 3 departments. The initial results already show that the outcomes of the study are potentially going to be very useful in the decision of the government.
3IE is committed to building capacity by enhancing the accessibility of evidence, supporting capacity sharing, and promoting peer learning. It has been working on improving the quality of evidence through its transparency and replication initiatives. 3IE's website hosts the largest of its kind repositories of impact evaluations and systematic reviews focused on development in low and middle income countries. It also produces a range of publications and knowledge resources in multimedia formats.
3IE provides evidence that's available to everyone and aggregates it in a way that is really useful. They've developed a range of analytical products that everyone, not just researchers, can use and understand.
I think 3IE has made a big contribution towards what I would call the evidence ecosystem and the range of innovation that you've done, not just for the actual impact evaluations, the systematic reviews, but the databases, the repositories, the methodologies around has been really impressive.
As 3IE heads into its second decade, there is increasing recognition of its role as a global advocate for ethical evaluations that can lead the world towards more equitable, inclusive, and sustainable development.
We're also going to continue our advocacy for equity-focused evaluations to build a commitment for social justice, because we believe that this is an area that requires the world's attention.